In this video, we will tell you how to write short answers in the engineering discipline. You will have many assignments that require you to give short answers to a series of questions. So, what are short answers? Typically, they are between 50 and 100 words long. They are responses to specific questions set by your instructors. They include giving definitions, explanation of concepts, and interpretation of graphs. They may require calculations and algorithms. And why do you need to write short answers? By writing short answers, you will be able to consolidate your knowledge of a specific area and demonstrate it to your teacher. The teacher will then know whether you have mastered key skills and concepts, and whether you are ready to move on to more complex assignments in the future. Now, let's look at how you can prepare for writing short answers. First, it is very important to analyze the question. This means you should read each question carefully to make sure you know what you're expected to do. For example, do you need to define a key term, or to outline a procedure, or to explain a phenomenon? To make sure you know what you're expected to do, highlight the verbs used in the question, like explain, define. Also, highlight the key technical terms to make sure you stay on topic. When there are several questions in an assignment, the last one will usually require you to draw on information from the earlier questions and explain the overall significance of the concept or whatever the object of the study is. The second recommendation for preparing for writing short answers is to read the course textbooks. Although this may sound obvious, many students don't do it. Many students only revise by looking at the lecture slides prepared by the teacher, but this is not enough. You must also read the assigned textbooks. The answers usually require information that is found in these textbooks. Your teachers have told us that many students do not provide enough information in their answers. So to repeat, don't make this mistake. Read the textbooks. Thirdly, consider your audience, the reader. You are writing for the teacher to show what you have learned and that you are ready to move on to more complex ideas and assignments. Therefore, this means that you have to use technical terms, technical language, and give sufficient elaboration to show your knowledge and understanding. However, you also need to be concise, clear, and direct, as the answers must be short. We will say more about this later. Having looked at the preparation, we will now look at the structure and language. The main point about structure is that short answers do not require an introduction and a conclusion. They are simply direct, informative, concise responses to specific questions. Secondly, headings. Headings will help your teacher read through your answers quickly. So please indicate which question you are answering by using headings like Question 1 or Exercise 5. You can use the headings provided by the teacher in the set of questions that you're answering. Now we'll look at language. There are several points about the language to use in short answers. The first one is about paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is particularly important in short answers as you will be referring to concepts and information from your textbooks and notes. Do not copy from your textbook or other sources. Instead, read the text and make sure you understand it. Then, close the book and try to explain the material to yourself in writing. When you've done this, check your answer against the original. Note that because it is assumed that you will be relying on the specific textbooks and course notes when preparing your answers, you are not required to cite your sources. There's no need for any references. Next, using keywords. Analyze the keywords used in the question. Then you can use the same words or synonyms of these words in your own answers. But be careful with synonyms. Check if they can be used in the same way, and check the meaning is exactly what you want. If in doubt, use the same word as in the question. This strategy of using the keywords will help you ensure you are answering the question and help make your responses more focused. Next, express yourself concisely. This means explaining as much as you can in as few words as possible. Concise basically means short, and it is particularly important in short answers because you have a very limited number of words to show your knowledge and understanding. One way it can be achieved in engineering writing is by using nouns and nominalizations. Nominalization means using nouns that come from verbs. For example, the noun development comes from the verb develop. Another way is to use compound and complex sentences. There are examples of this in the learning materials and guides. You should use technical vocabulary. Using technical vocabulary will help you write concisely and demonstrate to your teacher that you have mastered the skills and knowledge of the subject. The next point about language is the use of academic language to indicate logical relationships. An example of a logical relationship is causality. X is due to Y. Phrases like is due to, this explains why, this explains how, and as a result of, are academic language to show causality. There are more examples of this in the learning materials and guides. Finally, we'll look at using graphics and other visuals in your answers. You often need to use tables, graphs, and mathematical equations. Equations play a very important role in short answers. When using equations, try to make them fit nicely into your sentences. When you include graphs and other visuals in your short answers, there are two possible ways to integrate them. Firstly, they may duplicate the written information. In this case, the text fully explains the information presented in the visual, so that the reading of the visual is complementary. It just adds to the information. Secondly, the visual may be the main source of information, and the written text is secondary. In this case, the text labels or highlights certain features of the visual. In the case, remember that the text and the visual should work together. That completes this guide to writing short answers in the engineering discipline. We have covered their purpose, structure, how to prepare for them, and some language features that you should be aware of when writing them.